a coach who likes to shout, scream, tell children, push up, squeeze, shoot, pass, all those sort of things, this isn't really for you. You know, I'm looking for working with or sharing information with coaches who like to think about things, put a lot of processes in place to help their life be easier. That's fundamentally what this is about. Coaching should be fun, especially at grassroots level. And it's about trying to make sure that people get the most out of it. You're giving up your valuable time to try and help young people get better. You're the person who stepped forward, you know, and that takes a lot. So for me, when I do the coach education, this is what this is all about. It's about sharing that information and saying to people, well, look, if I can give you anything that helps you do this easier, then that's perfect. So that's what we're going to look at. So if you remember, coaching philosophies, there were 3 of them that we went through last time. Player development. How will I help my players grow and develop? Yeah, that's the one and the number one thing. How will I help them grow and develop? 2 is the coaching. What coaching methods and approaches will I use to be effective? And we'll be looking at this in more detail about how to use different coaching methods, interventions to help expand the player's knowledge and experience of how to play football well. And then playing. How do I want my team to play? At the youngest age groups, the under 6s to under 8s, it's more about just letting them play as much as possible. But as they get into under 5-a-side, it's then trying to help them learn about, well, how do we defend as a group? How do we try and attack as a group? And the bits in between that. And then as they go through the years, you then layer on that. But the big thing is it's a roadmap. Having philosophies gives you a structure to follow, which makes it very, very easy then to look at what am I going to work on in the next year, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, week. You can start to then plan things and take that from that. So it's just to give you a roadmap. So when you've got your philosophies in place, you can then plan sessions better, which then means you can have a clear focus and direction. You then want to get your parents and guardians online so they understand your approach. And then also coaching becomes so much easier, as I say, because you've got that framework that you're working within. So then you can start to go, right, well, how do I then convey this information to my players? So that is fundamentally what you get with alignment. So alignment should then transfer into match day and training, and it's just a repeat cycle. Now, I've produced this, which is a PDF on Gumroad. You can find the link in the bio, which goes into a little bit more detail about the things that you should consider. And it gives you a step-by-step process on how to do that. So if you're a brand new coach who's never gone through the philosophy process before, having a structure to follow is very, very easy. So the first thing it will look at, is what you are trying to grow in your players? How am I going to help them develop key characteristics to become a player that you think is really, really good? And it's not just good as a footballer, it's good as a person. It will then give you an example of my one for that. And you'll read through that and you go, right, I've got an idea, I've got a gist of what this person's going on about. And then it will ask you to write down your own. Yeah. So then you create your first one, which is then linked to your player development one. Yeah. You then go into it. So what are you as a coach? And it talks about your values and beliefs. Why do you do what you do the way that you do it? Yeah. Like for me, integrity, kindness, and growth are the big things. But I also want determined players, positive players, hard-working players. Well, if I want those sort of things, I've got to think about, well, how do I convey that to my players and the parents to help them recognize what I expect from them? Yeah, because even if you're a beginner coach, it's great to have high standards, because what you want to try and do is ask the players right at the start, who wants to be the best that they can be? Because once people are like, I want to be the best that I can be, it's so much easier to help them try and achieve that. You then write down yours. And then finally, it's how do I want the players to play? Well, in 3v3 football, it's very simple. Get out, try and score goals, stop the other team scoring goals. Like I said, if we go into 5v5, we're then thinking, do we play a box defense? Do we play a diamond? When we do win it, how do we try to play forward? If you've got all these things in your mind and then written down, you can then talk to parents and say, this is what I'm trying to achieve this year with your son or daughter. They can then understand it. When people don't have an understanding of what goes on, there's a void. And they try to fill that vacuum by doing what they think is best. And this is why I've created the book, because the book is about trying to help you negotiate that relationship with parents so they understand, I do this way, and I want the best for your child. Yeah. Most reasonable parents understand that. and they want someone who's in it to help all of their children be the best that they be, not just the best young player at that age. You know, because we looked at relative age effect lightly the other day, but we'll come back to that. And then it's just a one pager, you know, your philosophy on one page, which is that so much easier then to give to parents and say, this is what I'm all about. And then you start to share that information with your players as well. So the book is the roadmap, which tells all of the things. Yeah, it comes out next week, August the 1st. So it's a Saturday, deliberately for people who are going into the season ahead. And it gives you lots of great tips. And I'm going to share the content of that next week in more detail. But obviously philosophies are a key one. And making sure you've got that idea of, right, I'm going into this, I'm new to it. And some of you may not even have played football. So you're just really determined to make sure your child has a really great experience. And you're the person who's stepping forward. You may be a young coach who's thinking about football as a career. And you're thinking, well, actually, I've got to start somewhere. So I'm going to volunteer for my local club to get some experience. And that will help me then go on to think about, well, where do I go next? But if you are in it as a parent and you're looking to do this for a long-term thing, 10 years is what you're trying to aim at. Under 6s to under 16s, maybe longer. What do they need at every age and stage to help them get better? And that's what the book lays out. What can you do with different elements throughout that time? So I'm going to have a look, see if there are any questions. I don't think there are any at the moment. So I'm not going to go on to this too much more because I think I've gave some good information through the week. Like I said, the tool is there on my Gumroad. You'll find that in the link in the bio. It's a reasonable cost. I think it's about $6.99, but it helps you then roadmap that out. And then you can start thinking about, well, what are the sessions? And I have put some a book on there with 12 sessions, 48 practices in total, which will help a coach first starting out in those first few weeks of what can I do that I know will be good that aligns with my philosophy as well. So I'm really pleased that people have turned up. Some of you stayed for the whole thing. Some have dipped in and out. That's absolutely fine. These things happen. But I'm hoping to share more information with people. So I will share this. And if you've got comments, if you want specific things that you need at this moment in time to help you with your coaching, ask me, and then I will create that content and start to share it with you. But I'll also align it with the book. So you've got a nice, clear idea of, well, if I go there, this is really going to help me. So I really appreciate you turning up this evening, dropping in to have a look at this. And I look forward to sharing more content with you as we go through the season together, which is what I'm hoping I'll be able to achieve with you. So enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll send the video over tomorrow.